Gastroenterology and hepatology, are they important medical disciplines or practices? Yes, they are. How important? Well, important enough for it to garner our guest for today a joint Merdeka Award recipient status. Well, his name is Professor Dato Dr Goh Khean. Like I said, he's a gastroenterology and hepatology specialist and also a Merdeka Award joint recipient. My name is Syed Farradino Omar and you are watching In Person. Now, okay, we're going to meet the man himself right now, and don't forget, his area of specialty is in gastroenterology as well as hepatology, and his work in this field has earned him a Merdeka Award. Now, what exactly is that? Well, let's ask him himself. Here's Professor Dato Dr Goh. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, pleasure to meet you.
It is a pleasure to meet you. It's always a pleasure to meet a Merdeka Award recipient.
Thank you very much.
It gives me goosebumps thinking about it all the time. Okay. Let's just start with this, help the uninformed and the uninitiated out there. You won a Merdeka Award for your work in gastroenterology as well as in hepatology.
Yes.
Now, apart from the gastro bit and the hepatology bit, which is what we normally hear, you know, when it comes to medical terms, paint a picture of exactly what it is that is so special about the research and the work that you do.
Well, gastroenterology and hepatology is a specialty that deal with digestion. So some people will call it digestive diseases because both the liver and the gastrointestinal tract, that is the intestines, the stomach, the colon, they all involved in some way to digestion and absorption of nutrients, which feeds the body, of course. So what this specialty does is that we focus on the study of these areas. And to study these areas, we have a lot of lab tests. And at the same time, one very big development that has taken place from the 1960s is the invention of a scope, an endoscope, if we call it. So what this instrument does, and this instrument has evolved and become a very sophisticated investigative tool, is that it allows doctors to investigate the inner parts of the esophagus, stomach, duodenum, as well as from the back, the whole colon, and now even the small intestines. And we can also have special scopes that put in catheters to look at the bile duct, pancreatic duct, and get into the liver as well. So this whole area of endoscopy and then therapeutics or treatment with endoscopy has brought up this whole field of gastroenterology and hepatology tremendously over the past 30 to 40 years. So a lot of our work is involved in basic research and clinical research, as well as a lot of research involving the endoscopy.
So what it essentially means is that you can now look into your food tract from top to bottom.
Yes, yes, virtually,
you know, from a remote area, by using endoscopy.
Yes.
Okay, and how is this beneficial to the humankind, as opposed to, you know, cutting up and taking a look?
No, you can cut up, but you see with endoscopes, you don't need to cut up. So you can make diagnosis. Better, yes, you can make diagnosis without cutting up. You can do therapeutics like taking out early cancers and treat bleeding, ulcers, and all that without needing to cut up. In the bad old days, everybody had to be cut up, so to speak. So that is the situation.
So being cut up is always not as good as being able to look at it from the outside.
So this is a great advancement in medicine, if I may put it.
Okay, then I'm going to ask you to take another step back and look at an even bigger picture. Tell us how this research that you have done and the work that you have spent, you know, the last X number of decades working on, is important enough to warrant winning a Merdeka Award, the highest award in the country right now.
Yes, it's a very great honor and pride for me, of course. But what I've done over the years is that I have quite assiduously and carefully studied many diseases within the stomach, the esophagus, in relation to the Malaysian context. So what I guess I've done over the years is that I have clarified a lot of things with regards to the pattern and distribution of disease. In medical jargon, we call it epidemiology of diseases.
Yep.
So I've done a lot of work on that,
Right.
on Helicobacter, gastric cancers, and even some liver diseases like fatty liver and liver cirrhosis and things like that. So that in fact has been a lot of my research work, and I've done a doctorate degree on Helicobacter pylori infection, and that is a germ in the stomach, and you know, I've discovered several things.
That was what your doctorate degree
was
on, right?
That was my.
And in fact, as I understand it, not many people practicing medicine right now actually have doctorate degrees that goes up to that level.
Yes.
Right, I see.
In clinical medicine, you have your basic so-called MBBS or MD sort of degree, but not getting a higher degree. Which is equivalent to a PhD.
Why is that so? Is it possibly because, you know, even with an MBBS you already earn enough?
Yes, you know, MBBS, and then we get a professional specialist degree,
a specialist degree,
that MRCP and that sort of thing. So some go on to do MD. In British jargon, that is a PhD or a PhD itself. So it's part of you know, a personal academic sort of fulfillment and achievement to do that. And of course, I've done that. I did that many years ago. It's a great achievement.
Well, I'm going to ask you about
satisfaction. I would say.
Exactly that. I'm going to ask you about this satisfaction bit, you know, in the second part of this interview. But in the first part, one of the things that attracted my attention in that statement you just made just now was that your research was also based on Malaysian cases and circumstances. What's special about that? Is it because we eat too much chili padi and we know that that does things that it shouldn't do to our...
You see, medical research must always be done from a global sort of context, yes, but also from a local context. Because diseases may be universal, but they all differ in some respects from country to country and region to region. And if you come from Malaysia, you should understand. You should study and understand, first and foremost, the disease in your own backyard, so to speak. Because at the end of the day, this sort of research, and you see a lot of research I do, I call it clinical research. Because at the end of the day, this sort of research is not basic bench sort of research, but it translates to clinical care of patients. It translates to understanding the clinical outcomes and treatment of patients in your own setting. So in the end, it benefits your patients. And that's important for a doctor.
People who come and look for clinical advice from you. Right, I see. In your area. I see.
What is important to our patients here must be important to the doctor.
Of course, yes.
And the doctor must make that endeavor to understand, to clarify.
Right, I see.
That is my feeling.
It's just like in any field where you specialize in a certain area, specialize in the area that you're in first, because that gives you that extra edge. Okay, we have to go for a short break right now, but when we come back, let's find out what the past year since winning the Merdeka Award has given and done to Professor Dato Dr Goh. Stay with us on In Person.
Apa ekstranya Petronas Premix 95 Extra? Ia menjadikan enjin ekstra bersih. Menjadikan pemanduan anda ekstra lancar. Dengan ekstra pecutan yang memberikan ekstra penjimatan sepenuhnya sepanjang masa. Barulah ekstra. Baru Sohari
Ini telah tiba, mie sedap bersakari, aroma kuah karinya, rasa istimewa. Mie sedap bersakari, mie sedap terasa selapnya.
Isnin hingga Jumaat, Astro AWANI membawakan Bisnes AWANI.
Air Asia menegaskan ia sudah bersiap sedia untuk berpindah ke lapangan terbang antarabangsa Kuala Lumpur 2, KLIA 2.
Emas seringkali dianggap sebagai instrumen pelaburan yang paling selamat dan juga bijak.
We have effective cash management solutions which helps SMEs manage their liquidity.
Bisnes AWANI 4 kali sehari di Astro AWANI. Berita segenap dimensi.
Okay, we're back on In Person, and I'm of course with Professor Dato Dr Goh. Now, I'm going to ask you about, some of that personal fulfillment that you mentioned earlier. But before that, let's go even before that. Let's talk a little bit about your calling. I mean, you could have just gone down the regular medicine route, the general medicine that a lot of people, learn and practice. But you decided to go that extra mile and go into this particular area of specialization. So what would you say was your calling to go into this particular avenue?
Well, basically, I felt that I wanted to do something more in my professional life. I mean, I'm a doctor, I'm a specialist in this area, and there are many specialists in this area of gastroenterology and hepatologists. But I felt that when I first started to work in the University of Malaya, that I wanted to do more. I wanted to do more in the sense that I wanted to understand more about what I did. And I guess this is a very personal sort of thing. Many people can do things just to get by. But I felt from the start that maybe there's a little bit of neurotic trait in me that I wanted to do. I wanted to do more and achieve more. And at the end of the day, I wanted to understand more what I was practicing. And so that led me on to do what I've been doing in my field of
So
specialization.
again, it's something that came from within, if I'm reading this correctly.
I think so.
But was there anything that you saw? I mean, just to quote a rough example, Mother Teresa was moved looking at the poverty and the inequality around her when she first stepped into Calcutta. So for yourself, was there anything that you saw?
I'm not I'm not a Mother Teresa sort of level.
I know, but then there are things that motivate men to do greater things than they are.
I guess in most medical specialties in Malaysia, as you've mentioned, Dino, earlier on, many people get the degrees. They're good doctors. They start practicing and then they go out to practice and they live a happy life. But I felt that in Malaysia we could do more. That there was a need for people to try to achieve a little bit more in specialization, in greater depth in our understanding and knowledge of disease. In my case, particularly in gastroenterology and hepatology, and I guess that's what led me on to do this. I wanted to understand more about what I'm doing. And I would think that in many diseases, not just in this special area, but many areas also in Malaysia, and there are many good doctors as well around, either in the University of Malaya or outside the University of Malaya, who have also achieved the same thing. So I guess I'm like one of them who wanted to do more and understand more.
This is where I ask you about the thing you said earlier about personal fulfillment.
Yes.
So what do you get out of this?
So at the end of it, it has to be a personal fulfillment. It's a personal thing. It's a personal fulfillment. Like for instance, I mean to share with you, you would rather sleep late, get up at 7 a.m. But if you get up at 5 a.m. to read something or to look through some of your research notes or write a paper, then you need a little bit of extra motivation. And what drives me on, I don't know. I guess it's me. I guess I just wanted to.
You're just one of those guys who just you just want to do it.
Maybe it's a workaholic sort of.
Maybe it was something.
Or sense of responsibility, or
I don't know. I'm guessing that it's I'm taking a wild guess here, but it's also probably because of your earlier days. I have this weird theory that if you come from one of those old established English schools, in my case Penang Free School, and in your case St. John's, it's the early days, the exposure to the various amount of people and the various cultures that you meet, it kind of gives you the extra edge. So would you say that your early days, being from La Salle, as well as
I think
St. John's played a role?
Certainly your school upbringing and of course your family as well.
Tell us about this journey then.
How you're brought up and all that. You see, my parents, we come from middle class family, and we were always taught to be hardworking and to strive and to do well in school, and that's what I did, And many of us, of course, we are not born to be, I have to confess, many people say differently, but I can tell you, even to become a doctor is you do well and then you get into medicine and you do medicine. At the end of it, it's inculcated in us that you want to do well in whatever you choose to do. And that's what I try to tell my kids now. I don't know whether they listen to me. And you know, after graduation, then I just continue to work hard and do well in whatever I do. And of course, my life has been blessed. I've been blessed by a good wife, a good marriage. She's a doctor as well.
Also a doctor, yes.
And so she's.
And I believe
she's
some
completely
of your kids are
understanding.
also medicine.
Yeah, my eldest studying medicine. But I hope she listens to this, you know.
Right. Okay.
What I'm saying, I hope she listens to this and she learns to be you know, humble and hardworking, and you know. So I think all along the way, you know, it's inculcated in me to strive, to work hard in whatever we do.
Yeah.
It's not just to earn money. No, it's not. You know, it's to be good in whatever you do. And maybe I don't know. You know, you think this would be a message to all our younger generation that whatever you do, you don't do it just for fun.
Yeah.
You know, you do it for a greater purpose.
Yes.
And you know, you want to be somebody of substance, a man of substance, a woman of substance. You know, that's the word I used. And as I say, life has been kind to me. I'm blessed with a wonderful wife, and she's a doctor, so she's junior to me, but she completely understands what I do, and of course she gets upset now and then by the time taken out.
But it's life.
Yeah, but otherwise she's been absolutely supportive, and I've been blessed with a good family. 3 kids.
I definitely hope your
so
family is
I think the
this.
family has been also a big help. In fact, what should I use? The bedrock of my life. The family, yes.
Speaking of a message to our younger generation there, and I have a little bone of contention to pick with you here, because you've mentioned over the last 3 minutes, you've said hardworking 3 times. Now, I read somewhere that you see, I grew up with the message, work smart, not work hard. But apparently you hold that sentiment to disdain. You don't think people should work smart.
No, I didn't say that this time, but I may have said it before.
Before, yes.
I don't believe working smart,
What's wrong
especially
with
young
working
people.
smart?
When they say working smart, I may have this streak in me that senses.
Okay, what's your bone of contention then?
Are you trying to be clever? Are you trying to look for easy way out? Because I find that a lot of work. And medicine is a great example. You really got to go through the grind. There's no easy way out. So that's why I respect working hard. Not working stupidly, of course, but working hard. But when people say, when people say you're working smart, I think that guy is over smart. You see what I'm trying to say, you know? Yes.
Yes, yeah. Well, okay, that's something for you to think about whilst we go for a short break. We have to go for another short break now, but when we come back, it's about looking ahead and how do we go forward after this. So stay with us on In Person.
Monday on Entrepreneur.
First of all, we don't have the very strong branding, and we are fairly new because we're only like 8 years itself. Technical vocational education and training has always been seen as a second choice. In terms of career prospects itself, so a lot of those bosses came from the vocational route. They are running 300 to 500 million turnover companies yearly just by having vocational skills.
Entrepreneur, Monday 9:30 p.m. on Astro AWANI.
Alrighty then, we're back in the final block of this very special episode of In Person with you know, one of the inspiring figures behind the Merdeka Award. So please have a seat, Doctor.
Thank you.
You know, it's been you've had a long and fulfilling career. So in the span of your entire career, from the moment you first decided that you were going to do medicine, what would you say are your proudest achievements?
Well, winning the Merdeka Award is an exceptional honor. Yeah, but of course, becoming a doctor, that must be the first achievement. Yeah, you know, you when you enter university or before you enter university and you enter university, the plan is to get the medical degree. So, of course, when you get the medical degree, that time it is a very special time. Oh, okay, I'm a doctor now. You know, got the degree, MBBS and all that. And then, of course, subsequently, when you get your postgraduate qualifications, etc., they're all achievements. But of course, that time when you first get that basic degree is a special time, of course, always. And then, yeah.
Well, but then again, to top it off, I understand when you're saying it's that first milestone that actually means the most to
of
most
course.
people.
I think for the most, yeah.
Yeah, but you know, reading your profile, you have achieved a lot. You've done a lot. Merdeka Awards is, of course, one of the latest ones. But you know, if I'm just looking at my notes over here, and you know, one obviously have to do research when we're talking to a doctor. You are, you know, so many fellowships in so many different places,
Yes.
From one end of the world to the other. Royal College of Physicians in Glasgow, Physicians in London, American College of Gastroenterology, American Society of Gastrointestinal Endoscopy, Hong Kong Society, and as well as India. Like I said, one end of the world to the other.
I've been fortunate.
Fortunate is
I've
when
been a
you
lucky
choose.
man. I've been a lucky man. Over the years, I have worked hard and achieved some things. And over the years again, I think for an academic doctor like I am, publishing is important. Publishing papers. And
Of course, you've had what, almost 300 of papers?
200 plus today. Yeah. It's the biggest list in biomedical, I'm told, in Malaysia.
In Malaysia, yeah. Well, there you go. Hats off.
No, but basically, you need to. You see, when you do research or when you make observations, that has to be published. That has to be written down and published. To me, that's important, because if you observe something, you study something, if you don't publish it, it's not yours. It's never yours. But if you publish it, it always belongs to you. This was told to me by a mentor, one of my mentors overseas, Professor Syed. He said, KL, you must write it up. When you write it up, nobody takes it away from you. And so how true it is. So that is what I have done, and this is what I tell my younger specialists who are coming up. Say, please write it up. Yeah, but you don't write it up just for the sake of writing up. I've never written because I wanted a promotion, etc. Although now it's important, it helps a lot. And and nobody recognized or knew how much I wrote because it was not important in the earlier years. But now with the new change in all the universities and with our new dynamic VC emphasized so much on papers, then all of a sudden, oh, KL Goh is, now he's so prominent because he's published so many papers. But having said that, you write because you think it is important and it's meaningful and you want to share it with other people. Yeah, locally and overseas. You cannot sustain your writing if you only do it just to get a promotion.
Yeah, just because it doesn't work that way.
So to me, the publication is important. So I've been lucky. Over the years, I've published, and that's become recognized by authorities all over the world.
All over the world, yeah.
And they have invited me to speak in their countries and international meetings. So
it's a good call that you actually did to actually publish all those papers.
Yeah,
and
of course, publishing is not easy also.
Of course, no, it's a challenge.
International peer reviewed and all that sort of things.
With the benefit of retrospect that you have right now, after so many years doing this work that you have done, would you have done any part of your life, of your career differently?
No, I wouldn't think so, because as I said, I feel very lucky and very blessed. And would I have done anything differently? I don't think so. No. I don't think so. I've been quite satisfied with what I've done, and quite contented, although contentment shouldn't be the word, because if you want to continue to strive, you must not be contented.
Of course, yes.
Of course, I've been happy with my university. I'm happy working in Malaysia. I'm happy living in Malaysia. I feel blessed living in Malaysia, and I tell that to all my children and everybody else who wants to listen to me. Yeah. So nothing really major I would change. As I say, God has been kind to me. I've been lucky.
Well, that's a good thing.
I worked hard, but God has been kind to me. Yeah.
Now that's looking backwards. Now looking forwards, what would you consider as your next major milestones?
I have built up my specialty, not just in the university and the hospital, but also throughout the country, in the sense that through my involvement in the Malaysian Society of Gastroenterology and Hepatology, the society now is quite strong and we run good meetings. So my wish is to have younger people come up and enjoy the specialty and contribute and benefit from the specialty as much as I have. Most important thing is for them to see the importance and the interest in the specialty, and for them to contribute. And I hope that I have, not just by example, but by more direct means, by direct help, with doing projects, or directly under my supervision when they work with me. Of course, I can't train everyone in the country in my unit, but I hope that I've touched their lives in more ways than one. And I've always hoped that they will be encouraged and continue to pursue, and not just pursue in just passing or getting the specialty qualifications, but I want them to rise above mediocrity. I tell all the young people, I want you to be better than me. You know, you can be better than me, and you must be better than me. At that point, at that stage in your life, you are already better than me. So in the long term, you must end up being much better than me. So that is what I wish I want.
Well, we can only wish you the very best of luck, and I believe I represent everybody in Astro AWANI as well as Malaysia in general to congratulate you, to say thank you for the work that you've done. It makes a huge difference to, you know, to anybody out there who has ever had any problems or anything that's got to do with the food track. Now, you're the man who has actually made the difference.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for
It's been a pleasure.
Yes, thank you for your time.
Talking to you.
It's one of my best interviews, I have to say that. Thank you so much. Well, you spent the last half an hour with me, and of course I've spent the last half an hour with Professor Dato Dr Goh Khean, a joint recipient of the Merdeka Awards, and you've been watching in person. And don't forget, this month, throughout this entire month, we are talking to the people that has made it to the Merdeka Awards list, i.e. Malaysians who has made Malaysia proud in any way possible. Stay with us on Astro AWANI. We'll see you again soon. Take care. Bye-bye.